up, people, and welcome back to the channel. Lovely to see all your smiling faces once again. So today we are back. We are going to go in with a little bit of blind luck this time, right? What we're going to be doing is we're going to be pulling the head off. That's why we got the hoist, right? Now we got the hoist because I'm not going to pull everything off the head before I pull the head off, right? So the intake's going to stay on, the exhaust manifold's going to stay on, everything's staying on. All we're doing is taking the head studs out, lifting the head off, and taking it out. Once that's out, we're going to clean both surfaces, we're going to put the new head gasket, and we're going to put it back, right? We're going to go and just hope that it is firstly the head gasket, right? Mostly because this is like 200 bucks, $20, something like that. Whereas, so we're just kind of going with the process of elimination here, right? I don't really want to send the head to go and get checked, because that means I have to pull everything off the head to send it through to go and get checked. It's just a mission, right? So we're just gonna hope and pray. We're gonna have a look at the gasket once it's off. Either way, the head gasket needs to be replaced the second we pull the head off. So good news, bad news, we'll figure it out as we get there, right? We're gonna try and keep all the fluids except for the water. Well, when I say all the fluids, I mean basically just the engine oil. We're gonna try and keep that inside the block. Hopefully that stays there, because like I said, all we're doing is pulling the head off. Once the head's off, the motor's been standing for about a week, so there shouldn't be any oil left in the head. We should just be able to pull that off and be happy with it. So, enough jibber jabbering, like Taylor Ray would say, and let's get this head off. Milkshakes. Wonderful. Okay, so the head is off the car. We can have a look in here and look at the beautiful stuff that we see. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you guys what I see going on here. Okay, so here you can see the milkshake coming out of all of the ports. Milkshake is when water and oil combine, right? That's how you know there's an issue somewhere. Now, one key thing to notice is this gasket is not stuck down on this side, right? And everywhere else, you'll notice it's quite difficult to pull off, right? Now the reason for that is more than likely because it broke or it popped somewhere through here, and that's where the water was coming through. So we knew the water was on cylinder 4, which is the cylinder right here, and ooh, wait, what is that? Okay, no, that's just the valve release, never mind. Okay, so we knew that there was an issue over here on cylinder 4. And as I said, we can see that we're not seating here, or it is not seated here correctly. So I'm just going to kind of put it down to shit happens and it just isn't seated correctly. We'll go through it now. Let me pull this old head gasket off. We'll just wipe it down and then we'll have a look. Yeah, the idea initially was to reuse the oil that was in here, but definitely not going to happen now. Ooh, thank goodness. Okay, so if we look at that port, right, do you guys see those holes there? That shows us where the head gasket blew. So thank goodness we blew a head gasket. Not too bad. I mean, there's a reason why you blow a head gasket, and we're not 100% sure what the reason is. I'm gonna assume it was because the timing was off for that little short period of time. But if we look, so this is cylinder 4. There we can see, this light's a little bit harsh. There we go. Can you guys see? That's how it should look. And there we go. Look at those nice holes there in between. So that is our problem area, and that is where our water was pushing through. So thank goodness, something you'd never really think you'd say by seeing a blown head gasket. But what that shows us is that was the issue. and if we get this cleaned up, throw a new head gasket on, we should be good. So let's start getting this all prepped. If you guys want to see the head that's just like flailing around on the side, I'll show you guys that now. Okay, so here's our head just like fandangling there in the air, and that's okay for right now. So if we go and have a look in here, we can see this was the front cylinder. I don't know where water or whatever came in there, but something got in there. Everything looks pretty okay and healthy. If we go down to the back by cylinder 4 over here, we do see a little bit of buildup of nasty stuff. There's stuff dripping everywhere. That's fun. But if we look at the actual area, let's see if I can show you. And this is a wonderful, wonderful sign. There. Do you see how there's normally a ring everywhere else, and there's a gap? So that shows us that the seal there at that point was broken, and that coincides with exactly where we were busy, where we saw the actual head gasket failed from. So we are looking a little bit happier right now. Let's try and get like this cleaned up, get that mating service cleaned up. If we get good time, we might be able to get this back in tonight, otherwise tomorrow morning. So tomorrow we should try and start it up for the first time again, and hopefully it all goes well. So let's try and get everything cleaned up and mated together happily. After a painstaking process of getting this head cleaned and pulling the head stud slightly out and having the washer fall into the head and getting everything cleaned up, having to take off the cams, this is all done off camera. I'm just letting you guys know what's transpired. But everything's now clean. We've tightened up all the bolts on everything, and we're ready to put the head back on the motor. I'm just gonna go through, get everything lined up, give it one more pass with some carb cleaner, just make sure everything's good, and then we'll basically just get the head seated back on. Let's see what happens and how well this goes. To everyone watching, right? Shortcuts are not short. Exhibit A, right? It's a little bit more effort to take certain things off the head to try and get it to line up and put the bolts in like a nice thing that you've labeled to make sure that you've got the head studs going into the right position. It's just a little bit more effort, but it might save you a lot of effort at the end of the day. So now I have to go through and just verify that my head is still okay. Fortunately, this was mostly bolts and things hitting into it and me being dumb. So I have to go and make sure that both mating surfaces are still okay. I also need to go and get a new head gasket because I was lazy. So here's a reminder. Don't be lazy. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, so I haven't recorded refixing the engine since we've done this like twice before already. So I just thought, I'm just going to skip it, get everything done, and try and get it done. We're at the point where everything should theoretically be done, and we're just going to try and see if it actually starts this time. So here goes nothing. yeah, that was the main problem, but it wasn't steam. It was just, I'm hoping, what was leftover water in the exhaust.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. After this, there shouldn't be any more. We'll see now. Because now we can basically listen. I heard something wasn't happy though. So it sounds like she's only running on 3 cylinders, but there's no water coming out the exhaust. So after a few days, we finally got her running. What I noticed was we didn't tighten down the spark plugs tight enough, so it was losing compression on all the cylinders. So that's why it sounded so rough in those previous clips, right? So we tightened all of that back down. We adjusted the CAS once again. We also got new injectors on order, so those have come in now, but we haven't installed them yet, and that's because we cracked one of the pintle caps. That's why we got the injectors. We got 2 sets of second-hand injectors for the price of basically testing 1 injector to check if our injectors were fine. So well, if I tested 2 injectors, it would have cost me more than buying 2 sets of second-hand injectors. So we got those, and yeah, after dialing all of that back in, this is what it sounded like. So you guys can still hear there's still a rattle. That's something we've experienced since day one. And apparently that might be the power steering mount. So we'll have to have a look at that. And then next up, you can hear there's a little bit of breakup, and I believe that has something to either do with the timing or with the actual injectors itself. I know injector 1's pintle cap is broken and leaking. So we should go through and probably replace all of those. And once that's done, then she should be happy to run all around. But as always, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed this, yeah, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Only a very small portion of you guys are actually subscribed. Look at the figures over here. Yeah, it's wild, right? So yeah, if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment down below on what you guys would like to see coming up next. And yes, as always, love you, miss you, bye.